So I'm just going to touch on 1 Corinthians 15, which is pretty amazing. There's a lot to say, and I want you guys in particular to comment or ask a question about 1 Corinthians 15. It's one of the most visionary and striking chapters that Paul ever wrote. And what I'm going to say about it might help you figure out some of the strange symbolism we're seeing in Zechariah that fits in with Zechariah's vision. In other words, it might help you understand how you approach things from a symbolic point of view. Let's just take a look at this set of verses. You fool, what you sow is not brought to life unless it dies. And what you sow is not the body that is to be, but a bare kernel of wheat, perhaps, or of some other kind. But God gives it a body as he chooses, and to each of the seeds, its own body. Not all flesh is the same, but there is one kind for human beings, men, I think is just a better way of saying that. There is one kind for men, another kind of flesh for animals, another kind of flesh for birds, and another for fish. There are both heavenly bodies and earthly bodies, but the brightness of the heavenly is one kind, and that of the earthly another. The brightness of the sun is one kind, and the brightness of the moon another, and the brightness of the stars another. For star differs from star in brightness, so also the resurrection of the dead. It is sown corruptible, it is raised incorruptible. It is sown dishonorable, it is raised glorious. It is sown weak, it is raised powerful. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, there is also a spiritual one. And he says Adam came first, who was a natural body. The second Adam, Christ, came second, the spiritual body. Now, what does all this mean? First of all, when he says there's a kind of brightness for the sun and a different kind of brightness for the moon and a different for the stars, he's not really talking about a difference in kind. He's talking about a difference in degree. So you can't take him literally, at least in that translation, because the brightness of the sun is the same kind of brightness of the moon. In fact, the brightness of the moon is reflecting to Earth the brightness of the sun. And the brightness of the stars, these are brightness, it's a brightness of various suns around the universe. So he's talking about really a difference in degree, but the analogy holds. A grain of wheat, a seed will produce a stalk of wheat, will produce the whole plant. A cherry pit will produce a cherry tree. An acorn will produce an oak. In other words, we are true in our development to the kind that we are, to our nature, and to what we are designed to be, because one of the mysteries of existence is the growth from child to mature. That happens in all living organisms, and the development from seed to plant, even to fruit. So he's saying that our passing from this life to the next is the same kind of a development. He's saying that there is a kind of development that is reserved for us as human beings. Adam represented the first kind, the man of the flesh, the man who lives on earth, the man who is capable of sinning. Jesus represents the second kind. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. In other words, it's the same kind of person represented by Adam and then the new Adam, Jesus, so that our change, for whatever mystery this is that happens after the resurrection, it's a change that's analogous to an acorn becoming an oak, a cherry pit becoming a cherry tree. It's analogous to that because it's like a natural man becoming a spiritual man. And you have to plant a seed. In a sense, it goes into the ground and is buried and is dead as a seed before it comes to life as the plant that is implicit or inchoate in it. So he's making an argument from biology that's an analogy to how the resurrection will work. But notice as well that he says here, if Christ be not raised, then our faith is in vain and we are still in our sins, and we are the most foolish of men if we look for the benefits of Christ in this life only. Now, maybe you don't want to take him literally, but it's in your face. It's a rebuke to merely natural religion, or a religion that's merely of the nature of this world and this life. He's insisting upon a resurrection. Even if you take him as speaking symbolically, he's insisting upon a breakthrough that's not merely of this life or this existence. He's insisting upon a transcendence and a transformation of humanity that is built into us. Because if we are seeds, if we are the caterpillars destined to become butterflies, and if our death is the cocoon, and the grace of Christ brings us out of that cocoon, the way he raised Lazarus from the dead, if that's the case, then this isn't just a religion about this world. We are looking at something that breaks through our current existence. There's so much else in 1 Corinthians 15. Comment on it, ask a question about it. You can also comment and ask questions on any of the other readings. But if you don't mention 1 Corinthians 15, that's it. In other words, I will be mean teacher, Mr. O'Brien, not kind, benevolent Mr. O'Brien. Think about 1 Corinthians 15. It could only be written by a man who had had some sort of deep and profound spiritual vision. This is St. Paul speaking as a prophet. This is St. Paul who met and somehow got to know the resurrected Christ. This is not just the kind of writing that talks about day in and day out stuff. Anyway, there you go. That's your assignment.